Getting back to ranking the best young cores in basketball, at the number 5 spot, I have the Orlando Magic. Now, there is an argument for the Orlando Magic to be lower on this list. Maybe you believe that the Atlanta Hawks have a better young core, or even the Portland Trail Blazers have a better young core, but let me give you the reason why I feel this way. Paolo Banchero just came back from his injury, and he's still, but I see Paolo Banchero as a true building block. I see him as a multiple-time All-Star. I may not be as high on him as some of the other people across NBA fandom, but I truly do believe him to be a guy that can be, I don't know, at one point in his career, top 15. I feel like that's not out of the realm of possibility. The second guy on the list, Franz Wagner, it is so unfortunate that Franz Wagner got injured. As I'm recording this or taping this episode, I don't know what that injury is. It was a nasty looking reaction from Mr. Wagner as he rolled around on the floor in Madison Square Garden. So I'm praying that it's nothing significant, but I've seen that reaction before from players, and it didn't look well. So I'm praying for Franz because they really need him. And I love watching Franz Wagner play. So if he's going to be out, it changes so much about this team because they were really getting it together. You do have Desmond Bane playing better. When Jalen Suggs has played, they've looked like a real competent team. And now, if you had such a long time without Paolo Banchero, and you might have another extended period of time with no Franz Wagner, how do we expect these guys to continue to gel as players together? And it might just shift their timeline or shift their core quite a bit if Franz Wagner's injury is better or bigger than expected. So again, I'm praying that everything is cool, nothing too major, fingers crossed. The next guy in their core is, of course, Jalen Suggs. And Jalen Suggs' counter stats I don't think they're ever going to jump off the page. But anytime you see Jalen Suggs in the game, you know that your team has an opportunity to win. It's 14.5 points per game. It's fine. 5 assists, 4 rebounds, 34% from 3, which is not as good as he shot it a few years ago when he got really paid. But he is one of the best glue guys in all of basketball. I said it the other day when they had their game where Jalen had the game against the Spurs where he got the steal and then he went on a 3-on-1 or 1-on-3 fast break and he went up. And I said, obviously not a great possession for Jalen Suggs, but it's kind of the stuff you have to live with. He kind of fits in that mode of I'm not even talking about the talent. I'm talking about the mindset of a Marcus Smart or of a Dillon Brooks, that these guys play so hard every single minute they're on the floor that occasionally you will have these possessions that's just bonehead stuff going on. And because he's giving his all on every single possession, you just kind of have to say, that was Jalen's move. We didn't love it, but I'm going to bench him for who? So he's been really good this season. Obviously, Anthony Black, when Paolo Banchero was missing that time, he had a jump. He was also one of my more intriguing players coming into the season. He's looked as good as I could have ever expected. And then lastly, you have Tristan da Silva. I think those top two dudes, Paolo Banchero and Franz, have the ceiling to be all NBA players at one point in their career. And that's one of the main reasons why I have them so high on this list. I think Jalen Suggs, as long as he can hit the necessary game threshold and minutes threshold, he should be an all-defensive player like for the foreseeable future. So their ceilings are just maybe a little bit higher than some of the cores beneath them. Now this, between 2, 3, and 4, it is rare that I put up my run of show, I make my notes, and I ask somebody else's opinion about my run of show. Because I could see these top 3 of the top 4 cores going in any order. So I made my list and I hit the group chat, the numbers on the board group chat, and I said, hey, y'all let me know if I'm tripping. Do I have certain team too low? Do I have certain team too high? And I really, really leaned on my boys a little bit to try to figure out, we had like real life dialogue via text, which is never really good. I'd rather call somebody and talk about stuff like this. But real dialogue via text about this core versus that core versus that core. So can I give you what I decided on at the very end? My number 4 core in basketball, young core in basketball, the Houston Rockets. Now, Rockets fans, do not get mad at me. Do not get mad at me. I recognize this may be lower than you anticipated. For the non-Rocket fans, let me read you what the core looks like in my personal opinion. It is Alperen Şengün, who was a few votes away from All-NBA last season. It is Amen Thompson, one of the best defensive wings in the basketball. And as of recently, the offensive game, we've been putting up some really good games. Then you got Jabari Smith Jr., who I see as another really good glue guy, connector. Don't ask him to dribble, but he do everything else really well. Tari Eason, the Terror Twins, get in the passing lanes. He was shooting 50% from 3 before his injury. And then Reed Shepherd. Those are the 5 young guys in the league. Now, it may be lower than some of y'all anticipated. And now that I'm looking at it, maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. But no, the core is really, really good. One of the best things about the Houston Rockets and why I love the eventual deal that they ended up making for Kevin Durant is that if the Kevin Durant era in Houston does not go well, then you still got all of these guys to fall back on. Now, that changes quite a bit if you believe that the Houston Rockets might be a team in the Giannis Antetokounmpo sweepstakes. But regardless, I love everything they have going on. All of these guys, when they're completely healthy, are going to be contributing guys on a team that is trying to win championships. And you can't say that about every single player of these young cores that I mentioned. The Rockets are up there. You know, we had the conversation about whether or not certain team is contender versus pretender, and the Rockets I've been on the fence about. I think I steer closer to them being contenders versus pretenders, and it's going to take all of these 5 young players in order to get there. They end up in my number 4 spot. Number 3. Number 3 is the Detroit Pistons. And I'm gonna be honest with you, the reason why I gave the nod to the Pistons over the Houston Rockets when it comes to young cores, and I could be convinced otherwise. Again, this is in pencil, not a pen. The reason I gave them the nod over the Houston Rockets is because I think that Cade Cunningham has potential to end up in that top 10 player in the league category. I mean, you may believe he's there right now, and I wouldn't even call you that crazy. And Şengün may have that, but I feel more comfortable in it being Cade Cunningham. So in my opinion, if you have a guy that can be top 10, not just at his position, but in the entire league, but also a center like Jalen Duren, who's going to be an all-star this season if he continues to do his thing. He had a little skid in the last week or so. We ain't looking at that. If he continues to play as is, he's going to be an all-star player. Then Asar Thompson, who is an all-defensive level wing. And then Ron Holland, according to the advanced stats, and this is why I always not take it with a grain of salt, but I don't look at it too much. Right now, he's a second worst offensive player in the league, according to EPA, only above Bub Carrington. I'm not saying that's who he is, but I'm just reading you the stats. I'm reading you the stats, all right? But because they do have the superstar player, the 1A, the fourth quarter closer, Şengün is also done in the postseason, don't get me wrong, but a guy that maybe you believe in down the stretch a little more. It wasn't a beautiful postseason run for him last year, don't get me wrong, but maybe you believe in him a little bit more in his overall ceiling compared to what the Houston Rockets have. And that was one of the reasons why I gave them the nod. Cade, all-NBA player, Jalen Duren, all-star player, Asar Thompson, all-defensive. That's a pretty good young core. I didn't even mention Jaden Ivey because I don't know if he's really a part of their core. But I could be convinced. Now that I'm thinking about it to myself again for the 100th time since I made this run of show, I wouldn't be surprised the Houston Rockets are above. But I'm going to keep it the way my notes are. But again, I could be convinced otherwise. Number 2 on my list. Now, this is where you talk about a singular player changing the ceiling of a young core, because you probably have noticed I have not mentioned the San Antonio Spurs just yet. If you look at my original text when I sent to the group chat, I had the San Antonio Spurs behind the Pistons and behind the Houston Rockets. I got called crazy because of who Victor Wembanyama is, as of already, when he's healthy, of course, being one of the 5 best players in the world, and that not being his ceiling, right? I don't like to put ceilings on players, but like maybe the ceiling of Cade Cunningham is top 5. Maybe the ceiling of Şengün is top 5, top 10. I don't know. That's where Wemby is right now in year 3. Wemby's ceiling is legitimately the best player in the entire planet. So that is enough. At least I was convinced by the guys that is enough for him to be number 2. Stephon Castle, there is a lot of hoopla about Stephon Castle as a player based on his first season. He obviously did end up winning Rookie of the Year, but you know, the stats weren't amazing, right? The efficiency numbers weren't amazing. This year, before he got injured, I was really impressed with him. He still got to cut down those turnovers, but I was really impressed with him. I've all the young to 1 year, 2 year players. Dylan Harper has a super high ceiling as well. And then lastly, I added Carter Bryant to their young core. So I could be convinced of them being number 2. And then my number 1 team has to be the team that literally just won a championship last season with J-Dub, all-NBA player, Chet, maybe all-NBA player, all-defensive player, Casey Wallace, all-defensive player, and AJ Mitchell. That doesn't account for some of the other guys in that young core that haven't played just yet. Nikola Topic, Thomas Sorber, or so on and so forth. That's my list. Woo! That's my list. I'm not, I said I could be convinced, but as of right now, I'm not letting it happen.